For years, the world watched and wondered. Behind the glittering facade of one of Hollywood's most powerful men lay a story that few dared to speak openly. The quiet, growing distance between Tom Cruise and his biological daughter Suri. While Tom continued to dominate box offices and chase impossible stunts across the globe, Suri grew up largely in the shadows, raised almost entirely by her mother, Katie Holmes, far from the Scientology world that had once defined her earliest years. Now, at 18 years old, Suri has done something that nobody expected. She has, in her own quiet but unmistakable way, broken her silence, and the message she sent to the world, and perhaps to her father, has left everyone stunned. To understand what Suri's decision truly means, we have to go back to the beginning. When Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes first appeared together in 2005, it felt less like a romance and more like a spectacle. Katie, best known at the time for her role as Joey Potter on the beloved teen drama Dawson's Creek, had grown up with a poster of Tom Cruise on her wall. She had once told a magazine as a teenager that he was her dream man. Life, in one of its stranger twists, seemed to deliver exactly that dream to her doorstep. Their courtship was anything but ordinary. Within months of meeting, Tom was declaring his love for Katie on national television in a moment that became one of the most talked about scenes in daytime TV history. His energy was electric, almost frantic, as he leaped and bounced and shouted his feelings to a bewildered but entertained audience. The world laughed, debated, and couldn't look away. Some found it endearing. Others found it deeply unsettling. Looking back, many feel that moment was less a declaration of love and more a preview of the chaos that was quietly being written into Katie's future. By the end of 2005, the couple was engaged, and Katie was pregnant. Their daughter, Suri Cruise, was born on April 18, 2006, under circumstances that raised eyebrows across the globe. According to the principles of Scientology, the birth was conducted in near silence, a practice rooted in the church's belief that words and sounds during labor can cause lasting psychological harm to the child. For many observers, this was the first visible sign of just how deeply Scientology would shape not only Tom and Katie's marriage, but the life of the child they were bringing into the world. From the outside, Tom and Katie looked like the ultimate power couple. Their Italian castle wedding in November 2006 cost an estimated $3.5 million and was attended by some of Hollywood's biggest names. Katie wore 2 custom Giorgio Armani gowns. Little Suri, barely 7 months old, had a matching dress. It was, by all visual accounts, a fairy tale. But behind the golden curtain, a very different story was unfolding. Those close to Katie during those years have since described a woman who was gradually losing herself. She became increasingly withdrawn, cutting off old friends and distancing herself from family members who expressed concern. Her public appearances grew more mechanical over time, her smile more rehearsed, her words more carefully measured. Journalists who had known her before Tom noted a profound change in her energy. The warm, spontaneous girl who had captured hearts on Dawson's Creek seemed to have been replaced by someone else entirely. Scientology was at the center of it all. Tom's handlers were reportedly a constant presence in their home. Katie's movements and activities were said to be monitored closely. The church's influence extended into nearly every corner of their domestic life, from how decisions were made to who was considered a suitable presence around their daughter. For a woman who had grown up in a grounded, Catholic household in Ohio with 2 caring parents, this world must have felt increasingly suffocating. Her father, Marty Holmes, a practicing attorney, had been watchful from the very beginning. Before the marriage, he had quietly negotiated a detailed prenuptial agreement, one reportedly so comprehensive it filled 5 full bankers' boxes with paperwork. It was a document that would prove to be extraordinarily valuable when the time came to leave. In June 2012, Katie Holmes made one of the most carefully executed exits in Hollywood history. She filed for divorce from Tom Cruise with speed and precision that left observers stunned. The entire legal process was finalized in just 11 days. Tom, by multiple accounts, did not see it coming. He later admitted publicly that the timing was painful, coming just before his 50th birthday, describing it as a moment that forced him to confront the unpredictability of life. The primary focus of the divorce proceedings, at least on Katie's side, was not money or property. It was custody of Suri. Katie sought and obtained sole legal and physical custody of her daughter. The child support arrangement settled at $400,000 per year, a figure modest by the standards of Tom's vast fortune, which various estimates place at around $600 million. Many legal analysts and commentators at the time suggested that Katie's willingness to accept less financially was a deliberate strategy, trading financial leverage for complete autonomy over how Suri would be raised, what she would be exposed to, and crucially, what religion, if any, she would practice. Tom was directly asked in a legal deposition whether Katie had left him in order to protect Suri from Scientology. He reportedly found the question offensive and pushed back firmly. But he also acknowledged that this was the reason Holmes had asserted. Whatever the full truth, the outcome was clear. Suri would be raised by her mother. She would grow up in New York City, far from the world of celebrity handlers, church oversight, and the intense pressures that had defined her earliest years. Life after the divorce brought an almost immediate visible transformation in Katie Holmes. Those who had watched her during the marriage years described a woman who seemed to exhale for the first time in years. She moved herself and Suri into New York City and began rebuilding, not just her career, but her identity. Suri grew up largely shielded from the media glare, which was a remarkable feat, given that she had been one of the most photographed babies on the planet when she was born. Katie was fiercely protective, choosing schools and social circles that offered her daughter a relatively normal childhood. As Suri grew older, mother and daughter developed what those around them described as an unusually close and genuinely warm bond. They were, by multiple accounts, each other's primary companions and strongest supporters. Suri inherited her parents' creative instincts. Her singing voice made its first public appearance when she contributed a gentle cover of Blue Moon to her mother's 2022 film Alone Together. A year later, she lent her vocals again to Katie's 2023 project Rare Objects. These quiet collaborations between mother and daughter suggested a young woman finding her voice, not just musically, but personally. Throughout those years, Tom Cruise was conspicuously absent. He and Suri have not been publicly photographed together since 2012. No birthday appearances, no school events, no visible presence in the milestones that define a child's growing years. While Tom maintained close relationships with his two adopted children from his marriage to Nicole Kidman, Connor and Isabella, both of whom remained involved in Scientology, his biological daughter seemed to exist in a separate universe entirely. When Suri Cruise graduated from high school in June 2024, she did so surrounded by people who loved her. Her mother was there. Family friends were there. It was, by all descriptions, a warm and joyful occasion marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Tom Cruise was not there. While his daughter crossed the stage and accepted her diploma, Tom was photographed at a high-profile entertainment event, socializing with celebrities and enjoying the kind of public, glamorous evening that has long defined his Hollywood existence. The contrast was impossible to ignore. The internet noticed immediately. Social media filled with reactions ranging from disbelief to sadness to outright anger. For many, this moment crystallized something that had long been suspected but rarely spoken so plainly. Tom Cruise and his daughter Suri live in entirely separate worlds, and he had made a choice about which world he preferred to inhabit. Then came the move that nobody anticipated. Shortly after turning 18, Suri made a decision that was quiet in its execution but thunderous in its meaning. She dropped the name Cruise, the surname that connects her legally and publicly to one of the most famous men on the planet. She walked away from it. She began going by Suri Noel, taking her mother's middle name as her own last name. There was no press release, no dramatic announcement, no interview explaining the choice. Just a young woman, newly an adult, making a deeply personal decision about who she is and whose legacy she chooses to carry forward. That restraint, that quiet confidence, somehow made the statement even louder. The symbolism was impossible to miss. The name Cruise carries with it one of the most recognizable identities in modern entertainment. It carries association with blockbuster films, with global fame, with a particular way of moving through the world. Suri looked at all of that and said, clearly and deliberately, no thank you. The name she chose instead, Noel, is her mother's. It is a name that speaks of an ordinary woman who survived an extraordinary situation with grace, rebuilt her life with courage, and devoted herself completely to raising a daughter the world will be watching for years to come. According to sources close to the family, Suri wanted an identity that felt like her own. She wanted to step into adulthood carrying a name that reflected who she actually is. Not the tabloid character, not the celebrity offspring, not the daughter caught in the middle of one of Hollywood's most analyzed divorces. Just herself. Just Suri Noel. In the fall of 2024, Suri packed her bags and headed to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, one of the most academically rigorous and creatively vibrant universities in the United States. Katie was there on move-in day, photographed carrying boxes and suitcases into the dormitory alongside her daughter, looking like any other proud mother helping her child begin this new adventure. The choice of Carnegie Mellon is telling in itself. It is not a school people choose for its celebrity factor or its proximity to Hollywood. It is a school people choose because they are serious about something. It speaks to a young woman with genuine interests and genuine ambitions, someone who has spent 18 years watching, learning, and quietly preparing to make her own mark. The child support payments from Tom ceased when Suri turned 18, as per the original divorce agreement. Rumors surfaced briefly suggesting financial concern on Katie's part, but her legal team dismissed those suggestions firmly, stating that the end of those payments would have no meaningful impact on Katie's financial situation. She had, quietly and methodically, built a life of her own. As for Tom, he remains one of Hollywood's most bankable stars, currently completing work on Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 2, and reportedly developing plans for an unprecedented film shoot aboard the International Space Station in collaboration with NASA and SpaceX. The world continues to watch him leap from buildings and race across rooftops, and continues to wonder about the one relationship no stunt work can fix. There is something worth sitting with in the way Suri made her statement. She did not give interviews. She did not post a tearful video. She did not invite cameras into her pain or her decisions. She simply lived her life, made her choices, and let those choices speak for themselves. In a media landscape that rewards spectacle and confession above almost everything else, that kind of quiet dignity is rare, and it suggests a young woman with a remarkably clear sense of herself. She spent 18 years watching her mother do exactly the same thing. Katie Holmes, for all the scrutiny and commentary she has endured, has conducted herself with a steadiness that commands respect. She protected her daughter fiercely. She rebuilt herself completely. She never made Tom Cruise the villain in every headline, even when she might have had every right to. And now her daughter appears to have inherited not just her singing voice, but her backbone. Whether Tom Cruise and Suri will ever find their way back to each other is a question only they can answer. There are those who believe a reconciliation is possible, that when the noise dies down and the years pass, a father and daughter might find a private path toward understanding. There are others who look at the choices made over more than a decade and see a distance that has grown too wide and too deep to easily cross. What is certain is that Suri Noel, that is who she is now, is standing at the beginning of her own story. She has a name she chose for herself, a university she earned her place in, a mother who has loved her with everything she has, and a voice that is just beginning to find its full strength.